horrible. The way he was horrible.
And I'm thought maybe you're going to actually ask me stuff about what went on and what's going on. Why don't we go ahead and play that? I'm seeing it for the first time.
All right, we'll go back and grab the audio.
Oh yeah, let's see it. Well, let's both get demonetized over this shit.
Here we go, guys.
He is running for the chair. Esme Murphy's show, Talking Points. This show focuses on the controversies surrounding MyPillow Foundation.
I like the fact that they just have him kind of shouting annoyed into his own camera.
Mike Lindell. Esme Murphy joins us right now. So Lindell is actually running for a top Republican post. He
Head of the RNC. Means no Matt Schlapp.
is running for the chair of the
Talk about a grabbing for a top of Republican post.
Republican National Committee, Amelia. He is one of 3 candidates running. It's the most powerful position in the Republican Party. The election
Yeah, it's 6 of 9.
is actually next week. Now, this comes as he is facing a 1.3
Oh, this is now he's mad because he's actually shocked. You what?
billion defamation
Wait a minute. They have a call-in number on the Lindell report now? When is this live?
lawsuit over his promotion of The Big Lie, as well as the FBI seizure of his cell phone. Are you confident that you can win?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just telling you why.
Mike Lindell says the reason he can win is because Republicans are so divided. And as he
Yes. That's a way to sell yourself big, Pillow. I can win. Why? Well, because the organization that I'm running for, like, everybody hates each other. So I only got to pick off like 9 people.
points out he has supporters.
I have hundreds of millions of people out there, the stuff I'm doing.
Dominion voting system
Yeah, hundreds of millions of people out there. None of them are in America, but whatever.
is suing him for defamation over his claims about their voting machines and The Big Lie. Dominion's lawsuit claims it's all been good for his business and that Lindell has increased MyPillow sales by 30 to 40% and continues duping people into redirect.
Yeah, I mean, this is like wearing the cross. These are just sales points for him. This is a way to sucker a particular audience.
Their election lie outrage into pillow purchases. Lindell says that's not true.
Now, let me tell you the facts about MyPillow. When I tried to get this out to the people, MyPillow lost $100 million in retailers. We are not up 30 or 40%. We're down. We are down. I've had to...
You know what? We watched him say this is the best thing that's ever happened to us, and we're making up for it.
borrow money, Esme.
In September, the
Oh, he's had to borrow money. That's right. So maybe the story about him having to sell his fucking plane is true.
FBI seized his phone. The search warrant affidavit says they were looking for evidence on the phone of manipulation of voting machines. Lindell says they won't find it.
Are you kidding me? I've done nothing wrong. Absolutely nothing.
By the way, they're talking about his relation to Tina Peters and whether he was in on it or he was helping to transport her to avoid like federal prosecutors and her getting arrested. Like he flew her to that stupid Cyberama and then flew and hid her at one of his properties for 3 fucking days. So the awareness of her crime means he's in trouble if he aided and abetted a fleeing fugitive. If she was aware that they were looking to talk to her and he was helping keep her away.
Now, Dominion Voting System has issued this statement, quote, Mike Lindell's lies have been repeatedly debunked, including by bipartisan government officials and the courts. Dominion...
And, hey, and by me. For the record, the bipartisan government officials and the courts that debunk these things and people in the media, they didn't sit through his fucking movies all the way through every fucking second like I did. And if they did, God help them. But they didn't do it on camera.
...is moving forward with the process to hold Lindell accountable for defamation. And in tonight's show, I'll talk to law professor David Schultz about how much legal trouble Lindell really is in. And I'll also talk to Secretary of State Steve Simon about his belief that we need to listen to these election deniers and monitor them because they remain a threat to our democracy.
Oh, my word. They remain a threat.
Oh, my word.
A threat to the democracy. Are you kidding?
No, she's not kidding, but she's also repeating what somebody else said. So she's talking to a legal expert, and she's talking to this particular Secretary of State, I guess from that state, that said this. I thought this was the 60-minute piece that he was bitching about. This is like a local what is this, Minneapolis?
It was a disgusting interview, and
Yeah, it's disgusting. She threw fecal material at you, and she was the whole time she was just like, answer my questions, or I'll throw another jar of piss in your face. Like she asked you. I mean, by the way, it's heavily cut because more than 2 sentences of My Pillow is too much for most people.
But it's the first time in a year and a half that an outlet in Minnesota actually even they went Fox on me here in Minnesota, completely silent.
Yeah, I can't imagine why they wouldn't want to have you on as a regular.
But at least Esme, like they say, complete hit job. But what did we all got to hear on national TV? We got
local TV.
Got to hear the word Dominion.
Yes. Do you want us to spell it too?
Okay. And then she sits there putting out these lies. The quote, she says, Dominion says Mike Lindell's up 30 to 40%. Are you kidding? $100 million we lost, and that's permanent every year in retail. Every year. We don't have any of them back, everybody. We didn't have every of them back. It's
By the way, he could have protected his company from all of that. Mike Pillow, very simply, could have just said, I'm separating from my company right now. I am not going to sell pillows and do my own ads. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to hand it over. I'm going to use my own money. I'm not going to tie my company up in something that's controversial and get them in trouble, because even though I think this is super fucking important, I'm not going to, drag them into it because I know it'll be a real fight. But he didn't do that, did he? No, because he thought he was going to milk this shit.
You lose that, and so you have to make adjustments. And it's like I was telling her, just like the RNC, you have to make adjustments. You have to find out, why do you have 5 losses in a row? You better fix your election platforms. You better fix the holes that are out.
I'm going to go with you went with Trump-like candidates, and you thought that would be a winner for good, and that's why you lost.
There, because you can't get money from donors and say, hey, keep donating money if you're not getting a return on their investment. So, I'm glad that, it wasn't too bad. That's the first time I've seen it, everybody, but there was a lot to that.
It was a disgusting interview. It was disgusting. It wasn't too bad, though.
That was about a 25-minute interview, Brandon. About a 25-minute interview, and she tried to hit everything, and I asked her, I said, Esme, she's on my Facebook. I've never had to deface her. I mean, she's on there.
You didn't have to deface her? Really? What tools do you use to deface people?
And she's, she's about as far left, and now even quite, someone told her to do this hit job. She didn't just come out and be able to interview Mike Lindell. They're very worried that Mike Lindell would be head of...
Yeah, they're sending in the big guns. Minnesota local television. Yeah, that had to come straight from DARPA. I'm guessing somebody at Davos wrote it on a napkin, and then some poor stooge had to carry it out and then eat it and shoot themselves to hide the evidence.
The Republican Party, because you'd have so much,
Jesus.
all these platforms. They're worried about the platforms out there, the election platform. Somebody told her to do that hit job.
You're from there, dummy. If it was Idaho, you'd have a point.
Yeah.
Stephen Miller, thank you.
Build your little fortress, bro.
That's the end of that one. Now he's going to respond to the 60 Minutes thing, I think. Yes? Yeah, no, okay. This might be the same shit. This might be him bitching about her not asking him about that. Is it?
And by the way, they went to my factory also, and we let them have the cameras in there and take
What? But they'll figure out what the magic stuffing is.
movies, take pictures, take everything. Go.
They took movies? Really? Did the director wear jodhpurs and have a big shouting horn?
Through the factory, see all these hardworking people there.
Oh, you mean the ones that you fucked out of their future by being a nutcase?
And we did that, and I said, Esme, how come the media, how come you guys attack
Esme, how's your? By the way, how's your crack fizz? Is it good? It's got a bite.
company?
Let me ask you a question.
My Pillow, I wasn't political. This isn't political. This isn't about Republicans or Democrats. It's about getting rid of electronic voting machine and getting ballots hand counted. They said,
yeah, to reinstate Donald Trump as the president. This shit never concerned him until it was Trump. Of course it's political.
if you care about our country, you better stop attacking companies that made in the USA, My Pillow, over 2,000 employees, other companies, everyone that's been deplatformed in our country for their First Amendment right of free speech, but yet you protect companies.
Oh my God. No, they're not protecting the company. She's reporting on a lawsuit. There is okay, let me explain this to you. There is a podunk little CBS affiliate in Minnesota. And not too far from where their little studio is, with their, like, the satellite dish they don't use anymore because they do their uploads using hardline internet, all that shit. Those folks drive by My Pillow ads or see the factory even because it's close by. They may even have, like, their kids go to school with some of the kids of people who work there. And so they've been following this all along. But all that aside, there is a company, a national company, that is suing a local Minnesota business for $1 billion fucking dollars. That's it. That's the story. Nobody gives a shit about the details. And if it happened, if Exxon, or if Sunoco was suing one of their local, somebody who owns 5 gas stations in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area for $1 billion fucking dollars, they'd make a story just like this. That's why it's a story. It's $1 billion. Otherwise, it's a fucking waste of time. And you have a bunch of employees in the state. So a lot of them might lose their fucking job.
And nobody even knew their names before this. ES&S, Dominion, Hart, Smartmatic, all these machine companies that run.
You know who did know them? All the secretaries of states, all the precinct captains, all the people who work on the elections, the federal government, the contractors, the people who wanted to get the contracts and didn't, and probably are funding some of this as well. We'll see. Again, this kind of falls into the zone of, do most people know ByteDance is the company behind TikTok? No.
In our elections, and they're employed, those people are running it. They're the ones running it. We paid for these government. They're basically the government. We paid.
No, they're not. They're contractors for the government. We pay the government. They find vendors that can do this. They pass a bunch of tests. They go through the system. And this all happened under Trump, for fuck's sake. Somehow, these machines that were getting better and better and improving all the time, and resulted, by the way, as far as anybody's saying, in the election of Donald Trump in 2016. But during the time Donald Trump was in office, these machines got worse, not better. Based on what? Because the election didn't turn out the way you wanted?
For the machines, they won't let us see what's inside.
Yes, because if you can see them, everybody can see them. And that means anybody who wants to hack the fucking things will get a better view of it. That's why you have proprietary fucking code in the first place.
Which, Brandon, brings up a thing. Do you know in Arkansas, everybody...
Oh dear, not an Arkansas story. Chickens.
It's pretty amazing. A couple of days ago, Cleburne County, they voted out the machines, the latest to get rid of...
Oh my God, once you've lost Cleburne County... So, that whole county, which is the smallest part of... Hold on, let's see. Let's see how many people are in Cleveland. Let's find out. Arkansas, Arkansas.
Jesus, come on.
County, maybe? I think that's how you spell it. Claiborne? Cleburne? All right. Let's see. What's the story? Here you go. Cleburne County, Arkansas. Dead center in this son of a bitch. It's a county. It's located in the U.S. state of Arkansas. As of the 2020 census, got 24,700 people in it, man. That's the first domino. Move over, Chicago. Look out, Los Angeles. Watch it, Seattle. Fuck you, San Francisco, Dallas, Houston, Miami. Cleburne's coming. County seat, the most populous city is Heber Springs. Heber. The county was formed
right
in
here
on February 20, 1883.
God damn
The
it.
last of Arkansas's 75
Wow.
counties
Okay.
to be formed. So what they do, work their way in. It is 554
How long is he gonna let
square
me sit there?
miles. Sorry. 592 square miles. 554 is land,
Asshole.
and 38 is water. Much of the water area in the county includes the Greer's Ferry Lake, which extends westward into neighboring Van Buren County, where I believe they are putting fluoride in, and fuck that. It's county. There you go. 27,000 people. They voted it out. All fucking 9 people and the mayor, who is a dog, because they take turns, and it was the dog's turn.
The machines, paper ballot, hand counted. And you know what? In Arkansas, there's things there that they have to have a way. It's in their constitution to do an audit, to see inside the machines.
In the whole state, I presume, and they do that.
You have to see it, and they're being denied that. We're all being denied that. The world is being denied that.
Yes, Venezuela is being denied that. Russia is being denied. China is being denied that.
Talk to Brazil. They have only machines. They have no paper there. They're going, hey, we want to...
We have, by the way, we have fucking paper. Let me know in the chat, by the way. When I voted, there was a paper printout that went in an envelope. There was a digital record of it and a printed out ballot. The ballot goes in a tabulator, and then the electric count is how they start with. And if they ever have to do a recount, they count the paper. They go through the paper
It
version.
would have been over.
But it's there. The big complaints that they all go back to from fucking 2006 or 2004, around after Bush v. Gore especially, was because there was no paper trail at all. Now there's like I want to say like a 94% paper trail. Yeah, you vote. Most of us vote on paper. It's so fucking stupid.
See, how do you see this? Can we look inside the machine? If you have nothing to hide, why can't we see what's inside?
Because you're not hiding something. You are keeping unauthorized people from being able to have access to it so that they could exploit weaknesses you may not know that are there, because all they want to see are weaknesses, and you're working on making it work. And so you try and fix these things. They have little rounds, have people hack them. That's why they took them to these things, these hacker conventions, to go, hey, can you break into this? And then they go, yeah, I can do this, this, and this. And then they go fix that shit. That's not the version. That's why they update it. It's why they update it every fucking election. That's why they have to do those, confirmed builds or whatever that they think are all fucking suspect.
You know, Esme, you're CBS.
Why are you yelling at a local CBS reporter, fucko?
Esme, you are a smart person. I asked you that questions and you didn't answer me. I'm going to ask it to you again. What?
She's not there, dum-dum. She's not watching this. She's not seeing this.
Have you went to
Why aren't you on her lawn with a megaphone?
Dominion and said, how come they can't look inside the machines? Why?
And they're like, we don't let private citizen groups look at the software. It's illegal. State constitutions and the federal government doesn't allow us to let any random fucko look at our source code.
What are you hiding? Well, I'll tell you what they're hiding, everybody.
What are they
Mike,
hiding?
what are you hiding? Why won't you just say what your credit card number is and the security number on the back of it? What are you hiding? Are you afraid we're going to look at your bank accounts and see where you're spending your money? Why won't you let us have your PIN number so we can open up your bank account and see what's inside? I personally, maybe I think you're a Russian asset. And I mean, that's very concerning to me. Somebody with your influence in that area and having access to the former president at the time and being able to get in the White House, I find that very dangerous, very, very concerning. And after he lost fair and square, and you've been hammering this, I find it very suspect. So what is it, Mike Pillow? Why will you not allow us, and I'm asking you right now because apparently this is how you talk to people, is rhetorically through a screen. Why won't you let us have access to your bank account, namely, and if I don't go through your checkbook at the same time and even get a look at some of the, and be able to examine some of the blank checks, how will I ever develop any kind of trust? How do I know your name's even Mike Pillow? It sounds fake. It sounds made up.
Brandon, pull up Frank's speech right now, and I'm going to show you inside a Dominion machine, everybody. You tell all your friends and everyone you know.
Oh my God, Diamond is inside one of those things? You cruel bastard!
Right there, keep going down, keep going down, keep going down. Stop. Inside the machine. You click that and you say, there is what's inside the machines.
So why are you asking? Why? If you've already seen them, why do you?
You tell your friend, anybody you know, you click that, the report is there, so you know, and you get in.
I've already looked at that, by the way.
Anyone to look at, they're going to go, wow. It's like,
No, they're not.
it's some cooked books, two separate books. This is one machine inside, and this was actually a complete. Remember, they were deleting this stuff in college.
This is the Tina Peters thing. Again, we went through this on the Cyberama. Same shit. It's so fucking boring.
Lorado called the trusted bill.
Yeah, we
His
appreciate it.
His nose must be made of steel. No, he smoked crack. He didn't snort cocaine. Maybe he switched. Who knows? Maybe he's free of cocaine and you know, although crack is indeed whack, it's hard to say just how whack he thinks it is. All right, I'm at the end of the show, but I have one more. May I? Because this one I'm curious about myself. This is Mike's friend should stage an intervention. That's hilarious, the Vinyl Villains, because prove to me he actually has friends. Honest to God, I don't think Mike Pillow has any friends. I think he's got some hangers on. I think he's like Trump. He's got some clamorers. But are you ever? Imagine yourself. Imagine, if you will. If you and I hope I have multiple people in my life that if I'm having it rough, if life has handed me a bad hand after a bad hand after a hammer to the hand, I have people I can call and they will listen and give me, you know, good counsel and a caring ear and support. Deep friendships that I've had for a long time, some older than others, all of them proud to say I have the depth of friendship in my life is one of the gifts that I have. Imagine, and I hope you have somebody like that. I hope somebody, you know, close to you is even ballpark like that. Imagine if that person was fucking like Mike Pillow. Imagine having to call Mike Pillow and tell him your problems and ask for his good counsel and to be your friend. Can you think of a more horrifying person on the other side of a fucking phone? If you needed to talk to someone or needed somebody to listen.
Shit.
Yeah, Kaling is saying he had friends and family a long time ago. Yeah, I don't think they're still around, but holy hell. Can you imagine going, let's see, suffer in silence and just deal with it myself? Or call my one friend, Mike Pillow. He said we were friends. Maybe he'll listen. That is not a mistake anybody makes twice. He'll say, I sent you a pillow. He'll saying sleep on it. Ugh. and his advice would fucking suck. Ugh. All right. Anyways, so this next one, this is a woman named Natalie Winters, and she's on War Room on Lindell TV, right, on Bandit Show. Natalie Winters, the managed decline of America at the hands of the CCP and the Biden family. This take, I find it fucking stunning. Because again, if Biden's playing some sort of like 5D chess, where he's managing to destroy the United States with the help of China while destroying China. All right. Fascinating. We'll look at, hold on one second. I don't know if you guys saw this before we even get started. Yeah. Yeah, here's this New York Times version of the story. Hold on one second. China's population falls, harrowing a demographic crisis. Deaths outnumbered births last year for the first time in 6 decades. Experts see major implications for China, its economy, and the world. I spent a lot of time there. I think they were lying about their numbers when I was there, much less now. But let's see. She's the executive editor / co-host of the War Room.
Natalie, you more than anybody have spent a time going through the receipts, digging down into the real connective tissue of emails and text messages, bank records, and Federal Register. You spend your Saturday nights. I tell everybody, if you call Natalie, she won't say I'm washing my hair. She says I'm going to a Federal Register of grants. You've seen more than anything. I want to connect President Trump's today about the dangers of the CCP
and how he was gargling Xi Jinping's testicles during the last year of his presidency in spite of COVID.
And his point of view of how, America has to unwind this influence peddling that's going on.
Also, the CHIPS Act that happened, again, during the Biden administration, the CHIPS Act was put up, voted on, and passed. It was a Democratic idea, and Biden's been pushing it for a while. Nothing about it was time specific. It could have been done during the Trump years. It simply was not.
Versus the Biden crime family from your perspective, Natalie Winters.
Sure. Well, everything that Trump says is spot on, though I disagree with his quote of America will be owned by the Chinese Communist Party if we don't, turn around yesterday, because I think, unfortunately, the writing on the wall is that we already are.
Okay. China, at the high water mark, had 8% of America's debt. The vast majority of America's debt is borrowed from Social Security. We borrow it ourselves. We leverage it outside of that. 8%. They have been selling because they need the money for the last 2 years especially.
And the perfect textbook example of that is the case of the Biden family. Years down the road.
Textbook example of why the Chinese own America is the Biden family. Let's hear it.
When textbooks are written about what managed decline looks like and who's...
So America's in managed decline, sort of like the managed separation between Deutsche Bank and Trump.
Sold out this country. Hunter Biden will be that example, will be the glaring example of how American elites have leveraged really every corner of America, as Trump lists, right, from the pharmaceutical companies to PPE to farmland.
Trump sent China PPE and then told Pompeo, this is a fucking new thing too. All right, hold on. This is from Pompeo.
Hold on. Whoops.
Trump lay off China, I think he told him. Hold on. Here it is. This is obviously this is an untrustworthy news source, but Trump will like it. This is the New York Post. By the way, a paper that was allegedly censored out of existence. They were shut down. I don't know if you know this, because of the Hunter Biden story. New York Post doesn't even exist anymore. Mike Pompeo, Trump told me to shut the hell up about China COVID secrecy. Here it is. Former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo alleges in an explosive new memoir that former President Trump told him to shut the hell up for a while about China hiding early COVID-19 pandemic information after Chinese President Xi Jinping said it was a sore topic. Pompeo writes that she was furious about the top U.S. diplomat's criticism of Beijing's non-transparency at a March 25th, 2020 State Department press conference and asked Trump during a 26 call the next day to silence him. She told Trump that Pompeo was putting at risk the Phase 1 trade deal that the two leaders had brokered that January. By the way, Phase 1 out of 3, there was supposed to be 3 ultimately, and they never, ever achieved the number of purchases that they were supposed to do in Phase 1. It was supposed to be somewhere in the order of $33.6 billion worth of American agricultural goods. They bought somewhere in the area of 10, and then that was it. And not because Trump went, no more for you. Keep that in mind. It's not because he went, fuck this, you guys can't buy anymore. As a matter of fact, he was hard selling the the agricultural stuff to them and touting it in mid-fucking July. He was patting himself on the back. China just didn't live up to the agreement. So, and they need the food, so it was even weirder. She told him, he was putting, okay, there you go. According to Semaphore, which attained part of Pompeo has never given an inch ahead of its January 24th release. My Mike, that fucking guy hates you, Trump exclaimed after the call, according to Pompeo, who was listening in on the conversation. Days later, Trump allegedly told Pompeo that he was putting us all at risk by upsetting Xi because the U.S. needed personal protective equipment from China. That's right. Stop picking on Xi Jinping because we need masks and gowns and goggles. Stop, for God's sake, Trump allegedly said, apparently adding the shut the hell up for a while warning for emphasis. Pompeo recounts that he honored Trump's request and that we needed health equipment and were at the CCP's mercy for it and would bide my time. A Trump spokesperson did not immediately respond to the Post's request for comment. That's because Trump likes the idea that he could tell Mike Pompeo to shut the fuck up and doesn't want to deny that he said it, but also knows that saying he said it makes him look like shit. Also, let's see. April 18th, 2020. U.S. sent millions of face masks to China early this year, ignoring pandemic warning signs. April 18th, 2020. U.S. manufacturers shipped millions of dollars worth of face masks and other protective medical equipment to China in January and February with encouragement from the federal government. A Washington Post review of economic data and internal government documents found the move underscores the Trump administration's failure to recognize and prepare for the growing pandemic threat. In those 2 months, the value of protective masks and related items exported to the United States to China grew more than 1,000%. There's your art of the deal. With the same time last year, from $1.4 million to about $17.6 million, according to a Post analysis of the customs categories, which, according to research by Public Citizen, contained key personal protective equipment. Similarly, shipments of ventilators and protective garments jumped by triple digits. Instead of taking steps to prepare, they ignored the advice of one expert after another. People right now, as we speak, are dying because they have inadequate supplies of PPE. Because Trump encouraged companies to sell them to China.
To our schools, to our think tanks, all the way up to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, really have been annexed by the Chinese Communist Party through...
Well, I mean, during the Trump years, there's an argument.
Really the tactic of infiltration as opposed to invasion, right? The White House doesn't have to fly the Chinese flag for the policies that come out of that building and the Biden regime to really be totally in line with the desires of Beijing.
Yeah, China was getting tired of having access to the world's most powerful semiconductors and the fabrication equipment that makes them. They were also really tired of Huawei and other companies being able to have access to selling phones in the American market and most of Western Europe as well. They were really just getting irritated with all the American factories and the specialists that were over there working at semiconductor factories who had to stop working at midnight on when the CHIPS Act passed and go the fuck home or lose their U.S. citizenship.
The Hunter Biden, tale.
It is a tale. That's kudos to her for, she will eventually get her around to using the word myth, which is the right word.
Really, I think speaks to how the Chinese Communist Party seeks to target what I would call kind of the Achilles heel of America, right?
Oh, you mean like how they have guys who pose as dissidents or people who are like, I'm really distancing myself from the CCP, but they spread a lot of money around and find influence
you guys ever
peddlers,
wonder why I
and they
go
try
right
to coax
here?
them into, playing this like
Check it
hard
on
line
the
against the
screen, doesn't show
CCP
it.
while allowing
But
the
when I
flow
move
of
my
money
bishop
through them to influence these things, because basically they're
where
just
I
chaos
do,
agents, so they don't have
because
to be
they
on
always
board,
try to go
and
for
they get
the
special
king or the queen
dispensation to do that.
immediately, and it's
Like,
annoying. I was just tired of it.
Steve Bannon's friend.
The weak people within America's ruling class who can either be bought out.
You're talking to one of them right now. He's
articulate
right across from
that
you,
a little.
Natalie. You work with him every day.
By money, by business
better.
deals, by power, by greed.
Yeah, this guy's
in the case
an
of the
asshole.
Biden family, we've
The
just
reason
been
why I went for
fortunate
the
enough,
queen
and thanks
straight
to
up
CNN,
is because he
for
doesn't.
confirming it a few years
can't-
late, but still nonetheless, we can really
can't
see
play
the inner workings, the belly of the beast, as to how.
Oh, you mean of their attempts? Yeah, no
without the
one
queen.
is to blame if they are the subject of a con. And if they wake up in the middle of it and realize, fuck this, and get out, even more credit. But if they're willful participants in it and are chaos agents for a foreign party like Steve Bannon is, then fuck them.
How this operation, this crime, this criminal racket really works in terms of leveraging a politically powerful
So
name
that's why
like the
I'll
Biden
move this pawn up here. Once they start pushing
the
out,
point here, and it dovetails perfectly with what's going on in Davos right
and then
now.
I'll move my
it's not
bishop
the Chinese Communist Party
where I
acting
do,
alone, right? It's the Chinese Communist Party acting
because
in
they always
tandem
target
with
the
sort
king
of
and
this
queen with their
globalist
bishop
economic
right at the
model.
beginning.
I see. So, Biden's not bought out by the Chinese and doing what the Chinese, the CCP in particular, wants to do. It's that anything that sniffs of the other, it's all the same thing. Oh my God! Like I was expecting stupid, but this is magic.
Being championed by not just big government, right? Remember when the old slogan used to be "Big government sucks," right? We were so naive then. Because
big government doesn't suck. As a matter of fact, you need a government equal to the quality of experience you want as a society. Small government sucks because someone can buy off the whole fucking thing.
It's not just big government. It's a fusion of the private and public sectors, really modeled after what we see going on in China, right? Whether you're talking about social credit scores, state surveillance, these PCR tests, right? The weaponization of all these little bits, whether it's, if you got a COVID vaccine, if you tested positive for the virus, then being leveraged and really being used as a tool to prevent you from accessing other aspects of your day-to-day life.
Yeah, none of that is going on in the United States. So the end result was this shit that you're all paranoid about happened under Trump. And then when Biden came in, people got vaccinated, schools opened up, mandates were dropped because we reached a level of herd immunity and availability of vaccine. And at a certain point, they went, as long as, your kids are safe, if you want to die from this, there's not much we can do. And as long as we're not in a situation where dumbasses like the people who watch War Room, Pandemic, by the way, which is the name of it. Now they've changed the name back to War Room. If those people want to die, as long as it's not gacking up emergency rooms, that's up to them. But none of us are. None of the shit. Even the PCR test stuff is falling apart in China, much less here.
So that's really the model that they seek to implement.
Now, and who's they? Now it's Davos. So Biden isn't bought out by the Chinese because they can't link anything that he's done policy-wise to benefit the Chinese Communist Party at all, which would be the purpose of a bribe or the purpose of compromise. Nothing. They fucking hate him. He even said we're going to defend Taiwan by force. Here's the thing, if it was a decision across the entire American government that we were going to defend Taiwan by force, but Biden was the only one walking it back and was oddly deferential to China about Taiwan, that would be fucking suspect. And it would certainly lend credence to the mythology that they're putting forward. However, what do we have in the face of the Russia investigation? Mueller. Not only the continued support of what Putin wants, Putin gets from Donald Trump, his angry outbursts about how when we expelled Russian spies and these faux diplomats they had, that we did too many. Other countries, he wanted to do the same number as other countries, and they were doing 2 or 3 because that's all they had, and he wanted 2 or 3. We had 60. He was livid.
Right there.
Having these quiet meetings,
Bishop, right
no,
there.
interpreters, but no note takers present, walking out of it like you just had a proctological fucking exam, defending Trump, like Putin at every possible corner,
Right there.
running interference for the fucking guy, while he's being investigated for these ties with the fact that there's a computer in Trump Tower pinging Alpha Bank in Russia, that there's money going through Deutsche Bank and into the Bank of Cyprus. Wilbur Ross ends up in his fucking cabinet, ran Cyprus. Like, all this sketchy shit is happening. And this would be kind of on par with what they keep saying about the Biden crime family, right? They're trying to even it out like it's the same fucking thing. The problem is, the result is that all the whispers about Deutsche Bank and Russian money and him wanting to the PP tape and the fucking wanting to build a Trump Tower Moscow and Wilbur Ross and all these fuckers being in his cabinet and being super deferential to Russia, and at the same time him defending Putin personally. And on the other side, you have the same kind of artificial myth, $1 billion out of China, and the mayor of Moscow's wife is giving money to Hunter Biden, and they've got him by the fucking puppet strings. And Biden is like, fuck Russia, we're backing Ukraine, and fuck China, we're backing Taiwan. And as a matter of fact, if you have an American chip manufacturer, we view that like you're building stuff over there and fabricating over there. We view that as a national security threat because they steal everything. So pack your shit, you're coming home. You cannot do business with it. That is a permanent sanction. The Chips and Science Act ended that on the fucking day. If he was holding back, it would give some level of credence. The blindness of these fuckers to that imbalance is fucking weird.
And I mean, frankly, people like the Biden family, right? Someone like Hunter Biden, they're a lot easier to compromise, right? It's a lot easier to get them to sell out when they have no principles of their own. I know you infamously remarked that it was like Hunter Biden was raised by a pack of wild dogs, but really, this lack of morality.
No, he's just a fucking addict.
This just, I think, really hatred for America and not wanting to preserve this country is how the...
Again, then what's the CHIPS Act about? Why defend Taiwan? Why the AUKUS agreement? Why give nuclear-powered sub-technology to Australia so that they can build subs and set up a port, by the way, down there for our nuclear subs to run laps around the South China Sea and specifically protect Taiwan? Why have more Marines on the beach than when you came into office? Why send congressional delegates to Taiwan? Why do that if the idea is like, we're going to give China what they want? Unless the whole thing is just you're trying to trigger China to fucking nuke us, like that extremity, which is why? So you'll get rich because you're the first target? What the fuck?
The Chinese Communist Party thrives because it's a lot easier to get elites.
It's not thriving right now. It really isn't.
All the way from the White House, all the way down to lower levels of government to sell out if they have no allegiance to this country. And for anyone who doubts the salience of Chinese Communist Party influence operations here in the United States, they have specifically curated trips to China that Chinese Communist Party influence groups subsidize, all the way down for low-level congressional staffers who work on the Hill, Republican and Democrat. So I can tell you this: if the Chinese Communist Party is going after Hill staffers, right, the people who are running the social media accounts of the Democratic and Republican congressmen, those posts that you see, the Chinese Communist Party is trying to compromise them and success.
Yes, again, yeah, they are. that doesn't mean they're successful. And as a matter of fact, the vast majority of people who go on these fucking trips, when they come back, they go like, "How was the trip?" "Oh, it's good." I mean, you get anybody alone, and they'll tell you how they ate they ordered avocado on their sandwich, and it turned out to be cold margarine dyed green and pressed into the shape of an avocado slice. That's the stories you come back with. That's what these they can fucking wine and dine you and show you this. And I was doing a tourism show in China. I was seeing the whole, and I met with the propaganda ministry. They literally said, "We're going to show you how we've ended poverty and stuff." And I'm being pleasant because I'm in their space. That doesn't mean I'm buying it. Honest to God, if he'd have said it at dinner, I'd have laughed in his face. It's fucking stupid. And anybody who goes there, again, most people, if they go someplace for a fucking weekend, they might be wowed by it. But on the 5th day, unless you're a cynophiliac like me, most people are like, "Hey, get the fuck out of here." Like, all you have to do is go everywhere they show you. They'll take you to fucking have some duck, and they'll take you to the shopping district, and they'll take you to the fucking temples and all that kind of stuff. And all you got to do is go, "Hey, we're going to walk down to the market, or I'm going to grab something to eat, or I'm going to grab something to drink. I'll see you guys in a little bit." And just do a fucking lap, and you'll go, "All right, this is a bullshit endeavor." And by the way, you think this is the only country that tries this level of stuff? The only time it works is if they honeypot you and you fucking fall for it. And that didn't. I mean, the weird thing is that they're like, thinking that like Swalwell was sleeping with Fang Fang and all that kind of stuff, which I have yet to see any evidence of anything more than she was a fundraiser attempting to gain influence. And then when he was told by the FBI that she was a Chinese spy, they cut off all contact. His campaign cut off all contact. She went back to China, and we haven't seen her since. It's because they sent her to another country. They sent her to Italy, or they sent her to fucking Spain, or to fucking the UK to do the same shit to somebody else. Because that's the gig. But it doesn't, like, these days, it doesn't take much for you to kind of go, "All right, tap the brakes, buddy." Like, I appreciate it. We're all far too ironic for our own good sometimes, but enough so that we're not like, "Wow, shiny." Like, I don't know what the fuck.
Ooh, shiny object.
Successfully so. And they're going after everyone. They're going
Everyone.
We're going after
after the
everyone.
Hill staffers, the members themselves, academia, think tanks, K-12 classrooms, everyone. And
Yeah, and then a couple of years ago, because of COVID, they stopped and decided to be the biggest dicks in the world. And now they're getting caught because it doesn't work. The bide your time and hide your strength of Jiang Zemin worked for a long time. But it was also from a position of weakness. So they didn't have any strength. He was just trying to goose his people up, make them feel a little bit better. "Oh, yes, we're super strong, but don't tell them right now. Don't tell them you can punch them in the eye, because then they have to show them, and they won't like that very much when you know you get your ass handed to you." They thought they were past that point, and they're fucking not.
fortunately, so many Americans really, I think, at the core, don't really care about preserving America and really just see it as a financial opportunity to sell out this country on the way down. And that is how you get the birth of managed decline.
Bidens were not shy. I mean, they were just brazen. There was a definite ask, but the Chinese didn't try to cover their tracks either. I don't know if it's that they think our elites are so craven, right? Or they understand what managed decline is. They see a decline of a country, and they're just going to go ahead and feed the elites as much as they can. But
again, holy fuck! I mean, this is basically like creating the myth of another, a group, an other, an evil other, and then anything they do initially is suspect. From that point on, you can kind of retroactively look back and go, "I think they were grifting us." But saying that, like, now that there's more awareness, the idea is that Biden and everybody had the same awareness that everybody has now after the whole China wolf warrior, after COVID, like this motherfucker's eyes are suddenly open.
But talk about the Bidens have been, they're not, and the CNN piece talked about, there's pretty brazen there where they're talking about healthcare things or charter schools. But in regards to our greatest enemy, probably the greatest enemy this republic's ever had, a true existential threat, they're pretty brazen about how they go about it. What are your thoughts on that, ma'am?
Ma'am.
Well, I think the evidence-based answer to that question, and it's actually what I
would be evidence. The evidence-based answer would entail you showing an email, a graph, a monetary number, some sort of communication.
I think I talked about the first time I ever came on War Room was. It all goes back to the media. In the mainstream media, these trips that I was talking about, how they pay for people to go overseas to China, really the number one target that the Chinese Communist Party goes after in the United States is the media, is the mainstream media, is these journalists, because they know if they can...
Well, and also...
You see how I got 4 days left?
Funny comedians.
So they moved a couple days ago.
Chinese. Obviously, I had a big target on my back the entire time, and my front, and maybe one on my leg.
Okay.
Sometimes you wake up and you go, "Oh my God,
Okay.
I've been had,"
Okay.
and then sometimes you wake up and you're like, "Oh God, have me,"
All right.
and then other times you're like, "Oh, these people think I've been had." That's interesting.
Get the media to not report on certain issues, right? Whether lies of omission or purposely portray.
See, I don't like that because
light, right? It's very rare that you ever hear
the game acknowledges en
really
passant.
Chinese Communist
So
Party,
the white
let alone
pawn in
refer to
between
them
the
as
horses here,
existential
in
threat or
between
enemy.
the
Oftentimes it's,
little
competitor,
ponies.
Or partner.
Okay, first of all,
It could take the piece I'm about to move right now.
The new House Republicans started
And it's a weird
their
move.
committee on China.
I don't get
is
it.
called the.
But it's a rule.
What is it? Hold on. The competitive. Hold on. House China Committee. Yeah, Politico. January 10th. House voted to establish. Look at this. This is Politico's take on it. Look at this shit. Ba-bam! Members only. You can't get in here, China. It's time to understand the urgency of the threat, says Mike Gallagher. House establishes Tough on China Select Committee. What's the name of the...
So all these matches right here, I avoided this one on purpose.
Committee itself?
That's why I stopped a couple days ago. This one's been a good game.
They don't have the name.
So if I don't move in the next 4 days, I resign. So it's basically just move when you move within a week. But this one's been a tough match. He really had me trapped, my king trapped, but I was able to fend the queen off. And now I'm trying to figure out how to seal the deal. And I think I know what I could do. Right there. Buy me some time. Yeah, this one too. I'm screwed. There's nothing I could do here. It's over. But yeah, all challenges welcome. I'm absolutely open to play anyone. And I look forward to it, definitely. I'll check chat in a minute.
Oh, here we go. Well, let's go back. Knew how to do a committee focus on. I want you to create a select committee on China. Okay. Yeah, here's a new one. This is the name of it. The House United States House Select Committee, or I call it Uncommittee, on strategic competition between the United States and the Chinese Communist Party. Strategic competition. That's the right-wing, brand new MAGA caucus name for this fucking thing. Not the committee on, strategic investigation of the Chinese Communist Party. No, it is a select committee on strategic competition. Oh, I didn't. Oh, okay. We're gonna work together. And by the way, Politico calls it a tough on China committee. What was the word dipshit just used, lady?
Because the mainstream media really say the words Chinese Communist Party, let alone refer to them as an existential threat or enemy. Oftentimes it's, competitor or partner. But they've really
Oh yeah, this one too. This one was a fun one.
Kind of provides.
I guess Natalie Winters is giving us evidence that, of course, the House Freedom Caucus has been taken over by the Chinese Communist Party. They've been infiltrated because they're using words like competition.
It's them insulation and insurance from having any of their nefarious doings ever be exposed. So that's why they've really, really, really charmed journalists from all outlets. I've done previous reporting on this, from the Wall Street Journal to MSNBC to NBC to CNN to Newsweek, you name it. So that's sort of the short answer as to
Fox, Newsmax.
Why it's so in your face, because they think they can get away with it, and 9 times out of 10 they can. But I think the other reason why they get
here's the thing. 9 times out of 10, it's a worm
I'm not playing that game.
10 times the hook.
I'm not playing that game at all.
They're brazen about their openness to like partnerships and cooperation and all that kind of stuff, because that's the narrative they're building, and they want to come across as, while like we're competitors on an economic front, we're it's strategic competition. We're trying to get along, and obviously there's a push and pull there, but it's kind of like a football game.
Yeah, so how these two lit back up,
and what ends up happening?
While I was playing the other ones, they went ahead and moved. So let's see who moved. They're online right now. Yeah, okay. So I moved the king there because he's nice and cozy in his little pocket of pawns, but more because of the sequence with the rooks here. I wanted to get the queen opened up in case the rook these pawns try to fuck around, and he tried to put me in check with the rook. So I wanted to stop that early. I might try to come around the left side with this. I might prance around with the pony for a little bit around the left side and see if I could thin this herd here in the middle. that whole series of pawns. I don't like that cluster of pawns. So I might prance around the outside of on the left of my screen and pick a couple off here and there. Oh. Yeah, this is over. If I go right here, I can't take a rook. If I go right here, it's just delaying the inevitable. All I gotta do is shoot one rook down. It's over. So. Alright. Hopefully he'll just finish it off.
Republicans end up starting the House Select Committee on Strategic Competition between the United States and the Chinese Communist Party.
Get away with it. And to go anecdotal, and speaking about the Penn Biden Center, Penn, which received obviously a lot of money from the Chinese Communist Party, and by a lot, I think I mean over $70 million in the course of just a few years, the University of Pennsylvania was really instrumental in lobbying the Biden regime to drop the Trump-era, quote, China initiative, which was a DOJ-led effort to really root out this Chinese Communist Party influence, primarily in academia, but also think tanks, really kind of the country writ large. So it's an example of what Trump was talking about in that clip. But like I said, UPenn, along with some other universities like Stanford, which is where the infamous Pamela Karlan used to teach, the person who was going after the election audits in Arizona. But these universities were instrumental in lobbying the Biden regime to drop the China initiative, which they ultimately did. So my point in all that is that the Chinese
this is the bug hunt part, the overt bug hunt at let's see, China Initiative, DOJ. So, the DOJ, the China Initiative is through the DOJ.
This bitch.
Information about the Department of Justice China Initiative and a compilation of China-related prosecutions since 2018. Last updated 2021. Background: 80% of all economic espionage prosecutions brought by the U.S. Department of Justice alleged conduct that would benefit the Chinese state, and there's at least some nexus to China in around 60% of all trade secret theft cases. In 2018, in addition to identifying prosecuting engagement, let's see, China Initiative Leadership Steering Committee members, components of the initiative, November China-related examples. Oh, here's one from November 5th, 2021. Jury convicts Chinese intelligence officer of espionage crimes attempting to steal trade secrets. Huawei CFO Wang Zhomeng admits to misleading global financial institutions. That's September 24th, 2021. July 19th, 2021. I forget who's president during these years, but we'll see. 4 Chinese nationals working for the Ministry of State Security charged with global computer intrusion campaign targeting intellectual property and confidential business information, including infectious disease research. May 14th, 2021, university researcher sentenced to prison for lying on grant applications to develop scientific expertise for China. April 28th, 2021, Chinese national pleads guilty to illegal exports to Northwest Polytechnical University. April 22nd, 2021, PhD chemist convicted of conspiracy to steal trade secrets, economic espionage, theft of trade secrets, and wire fraud. April 21st, 2021, mathematics professor and university researcher indicted for grant fraud. April 20th, 2021, hospital researcher sentenced to prison for conspiring to steal trade secrets and sell to China. April 13th, for fuck's sake. Yeah, it totally looks like the Biden administration shut it down.
Communist Party finds these Achilles heels, like I said, these institutions that,
like Steve and his buddy with the yacht,
they can compromise to sort of annex and have them run cover, just like we've learned that these social media companies and the intelligence agencies have been playing the Praetorian Guard for the American ruling class.
Now we can play.
The Chinese Communist Party is cultivating.
Again, by the way, can I remind you, this whole shit started with her saying the evidence-based answer would be
their own Praetorian Guard through, multi-million-dollar donations. So they know that it's unlikely that Penn is going to come out and say, hey, actually, the Chinese Communist Party was giving us tens of millions of dollars. And
okay, so the idea is that Chinese investment in UPenn.
Whoops. Oh.
This is the Inquirer, February 2021, China's investments. Okay. Penn got, hold on. It's the, whoops.
I want to rematch this fucker.
Penn got $258 million in foreign money. So the organization in China gave $67.6 million in gifts and contracts to Penn between January 1st, 2013 and June 2019. EU Chinese investment. Okay, maybe it's in the news part of it. Give me 1 second. Congress maybe. Okay. Oh, I see. So yeah, this is the idea: is that $54 million in Chinese gifts were donated to the University of Pennsylvania, home of the Biden Center. So the idea is that it all went to pay off because he's from fucking Scranton, and then they set the thing up to Pennsylvania, the UPenn, and they were trying to do a leadership course. Obviously, that's where all the money came from for the 1.5 houses he has. Government watchdog is demanding the U.S. Attorney probing Hunter Biden in Delaware investigate tens of millions of dollars in anonymous donations from China to the University of Pennsylvania, where an academic center is named after his father, President Biden. Ivy League College raked in a total of $54.6 million from 2014 to 2019 in donations from China, including $23.1 million in anonymous gifts starting in 2016, according to public records. Most of the anonymous donations made after the university announced in February 2017 that it would create a Penn Biden Center for Diplomacy, Global Engagement. Joe Biden, whose term as vice president just ended, was to lead the center and also named Professor University of the Center, which is located in Washington, D.C. By the way, was he running at this point? Basically, everybody was thinking he was too old and put a fork in him, he's done. So the reasoning behind, like, if they were chasing Obama, like he might end up being America's ambassador to the UN or something, or on this fucking Supreme Court, or because he has leverage, that would make sense, but not Joe, not then. The Ivy League University received $15.8 in anonymous gifts that year, including an eye-popping $14.5 million donation in 2018. The flurry may be related to the first son, but yeah, it may be related to, parking fees. The last group. The group asked Attorney David Weiss to step in and investigate the Chinese largesse to the school as part of the federal tax probe. We've asked Weiss to pursue a larger network of individuals and institutions benefited from millions doled out by foreign interests connected to Hunter Biden's work in China and Ukraine. None of this makes any sense in that regard. The Watchdog 12-page complaint. The Watchdog cited the 2017 text that CEFC, China Energy Co., one of the firms that Hunter Biden had a financial stake in, wanted to lobby politicians in the U.S. who did not want to register under the Foreign Agent Registration Act as required for foreign lobbyists. We don't have to register for foreign agents under the FCPA, which is much more expansive than people who should know choose not to know, reads the text sent from Hunter to his foreign agents, which is much more expansive than people, as you know. Oh, that was when he was saying, yeah, we can't do that unless they can set up a business in the United States. We can do business with an American company, but we're not going to set up as fucking as agents of a fucking foreign power. We would have to register it. He's saying we do have to stay within the law. That's why none of this stuff amounts to a fucking hill of beans. The Penn Biden Center has never solicited or received any gifts from any Chinese or any foreign entity. In fact, the university has never solicited any gifts for the center, Steve McCarthy said. Although the center's mission statement says it does not accept contributions, McCarthy contended that it received a combined $1,100 in 3 unsolicited gifts from two donors since 2017, but said both donors are Americans. $1,100. A combination of 3 contributions totaling $1,100. This is the idea that Biden hates America so much that he'll sell you the whole fucking country for $1,100. Penn gets $43.5 million. Biden gets $1,100. That's enough for him.
A textbook quid pro quo, silence.
Yes, $1,100 will buy you the death to America.
Academic freedom, getting us to push out Chinese Communist Party propaganda, because all the people who are
again, by the way, the Chinese Party wanting to push out, like communism or socialism or Marxist philosophy in the schools and funding it that way is absolutely something that they were doing. That's where that money would have gone. Trying to get the school to be more friendly to those ideals, to eventually kind of plant seeds. None of it would go to the fucking UPenn Biden Center for fucking what?
Getting money from them, or just that, getting money from them. It was a Harvard center not too long ago.
Damn it.
It was also funded by the Chinese Communist Party.
Oh, and is there a Biden Harvard Center?
Son of a bitch.
They were dumb enough to actually disclose it, and they were the ones.
Yeah, dumb enough to tell the truth, or China disclosed it.
Study that said that the Chinese Communist
What?
Party had an approval rating of upwards of 90% during the peak COVID, and that the Chinese Communist Party had actually never been stronger.
You sure that didn't come straight from the Biden Penn Center?
So that just shows you the Chinese.
It just shows you that they were trying to influence big schools. UPenn is one of them, as is Harvard, as is Yale, as is Northwestern. They were dumping money in all these places, trying to push these little centers. The Confucius Institute and all that kind of stuff. We're funding things through there.
Yep.
None of it tracks to Biden at all, much less as a special thing. Like they went to Penn specifically. All of the majority of these donations, even though there were donations before he had the Biden Penn Center, the majority of them came after. The majority of all of these donations came after 2017.
The Communist Party really has constructed an alternative reality here in the United States, and unfortunately there are just people who are so willing to take their cash that their infiltration as opposed to invasion scheme, really it works because there are people who are eager to aid and abet them to the tunes of millions, if not billions of dollars.
Fuck.
No, it's $1,100. 3 combined payments of $1,100. I mean, shutters are expensive. It's no joke.
That's when the books are written about managed decline, you're going to have, years from now, you're going to have Hunter Biden's mugshot right on the cover of it. Natalie, how do people get to you on social media?
Oh, for fuck's she's on your show, fucking stupid. Oh God. This is the current state of the Hunter Biden laptop mythology. This is the current state of the button pushing on their side. Think about this. Think about the stuff that I went through and showed you in terms of how much money went there, what money went to the Penn Center, the available stuff. And again, from the New York Post, which is the same paper that did the Hunter Biden story initially and that Trump loves until they did the Humpty Dumpty cover, and now he's pissed at him. It didn't take anything for me to look that shit up. Didn't take anything. And yet, she actually had the nerve to say the evidence-based answer, and neither one of them shows a single graphic, a single referenced quote. Even out of context, it would at least wouldn't be as embarrassing. The Confucian institutes that the Chinese Communist Party tried to put in American universities are not a joke. They were a serious endeavor to try to do two things: influence academia to be more pro communism, more anti-capitalism, and it worked with some people because they were already tuned that way. People like Professor Wolf and that crowd are already ready for that tuning fork to show up. They don't need to be paid to do it, but the school needs to be paid to give them a slightly bigger footing than they would have earned otherwise. But none of this, first of all, people are, eventually kind of got caught on to it. And this is the soft power that China has tried to use for years gave way post-COVID to the wolf warrior sort of, angry saber rattling about Taiwan and other things, which totally collapsed that plan. This idea that China has this mythological 100-year gaze where they can just see where the world is going and throw a fucking Hail Mary and the future is just going to be there to catch it in the end zone has been a myth they pushed for a very long time. The 50-year plan, and I have to say, I was a believer of it, and to some degree, I didn't go, wow, this is really the future of China. It's more like, oh yeah, they seem to really be setting up a strategy and moving towards it, because they're a communist country. They can kind of broom anybody who's not in line. If the poor or the sick fuck with your plan, you can just get rid of them. Countries, authoritarian, communist countries like that, can do whatever they want to their populace. So they tend to be able to plan that way because there's fewer moving parts they have to actually give a fuck about. It's one of the reasons why the United States can't think that far out, because we got so many moving parts. We got 340 million of them in the country, plus. So, but I was like, oh, that seems like a real thing. All right, They talk about it all the time. They make a big deal of it, and they certainly seem to make, if you look at all the building there, it's easy to get overwhelmed and see that there's a PowerPoint for them where they can actually head down a trail once they've said it. The problem is these guys, I'm here to tell you, having been there, it's bullshit. It is bullshit. There is no 50-year China plan. It doesn't exist. They're reactionary. There is no long-term strategy except dominion, domination. But there's no point where you can legitimately say, yes, they have the strategy, and yes, they're working towards it. They're just building, because it puts other countries in awe. Once the amount of building, Wolf is interesting though, comrade. Wolf's an idiot, and he lied on his doctoral thesis. End of story. He lied. He lied to get his doctorate. Fuck him. And he's a heavily invested, highly capitalist, long-term IRA and investment schedule guy in real life, and you can tell by how he talks to Tom and how he talks on Democracy in Action, or whatever the fuck that show is. He's full of shit. He's selling one thing while clamoring out. He's selling books about capitalism is a sickness, and he's saying there should be democracy and everything. Nobody at the fucking printing press has a say about a single word in his fucking book. It's silly. Anyways, I digress. The point is that China realized after a while that countries of the world, not necessarily the United States and Europe, because we caught on within a 10-year window, but Africa,
looks like we're ready to,
and the Middle East,
there we go,
and like big ego countries like the Saudis and others,
all right,
they